Well, hello, it's good to see you. Happy to see people popping in. It's kind of a dreary, rainy day here in Oklahoma. We are expecting some storms again tonight. I hate the spring, y'all. That's what we get here in the spring is an awful lot of storms. And I have friends and even family members that are storm chasers, and so I'm always really nervous about them, being out and about in the weather once it comes in. But I know that they're trained, and I know that they are smart about it, and so I try not to worry. But I'm a worrier, y'all. I really am. I'm just like a little bit of a worrier, and I want y'all to, if you are prayers or thinkers, whatever. My dad's dog just walked in. I'm gonna have to start closing that office door. I get claustrophobic in here if I close it off, though. But one of the dogs is always coming in and nudging me, like, let me up there, let me up there. But so anyway, if you are a prayer or have good thoughts, good vibes, whatever, our friend, Keela McDonald is, she lives down in Texas, and she is experiencing some really bad storms right now, and very likely that they'll have tornadoes, fairly big ones, and that always scares me. Anytime I know my friends are in danger, I'm nervous too. So we were chatting earlier, and her voice just kept getting more and more shaky. So I was just like, "You just go be safe, and I'm gonna go get ready for my show." So that's what we've done. But I've never stopped thinking about her ever since then. So I'm kind of giving it a couple minutes. I try to give 2 or 3 minutes at the very beginning to kind of let the algorithm kick in and those notifications to go out. And it looks like more and more people are popping in, so that's good. I wonder, what's the weather like where you're at? If it's beautiful outside, I am definitely jealous. I like rainy weather, but I hate storms. So when we have the threat of storms, it just makes me very uncomfortable and nervous and everything. So kind of glad that today's not a like comedy type show that I'm trying to do. I'm glad that it's more of a serious one because because I am nervous. I'm in more of a serious mood. It's so good to see y'all coming in though. I will check in with the chat and then we are going to get started. So and I'll try to keep up with some of you in the chat. I don't think it's going to be a real long one, but it's an important one. I really believe it is. Mischief Man is just having some trouble with her internet, so she may be in and out or not at all. She, don't you just love it when she's got two different means of having internet service, her, Wi-Fi at home plus her phone. And both of them have kind of went to crap lately, which I know exactly how she feels. Mine had done that before too, and it is so annoying. We have excellent internet service now, but even now, sometimes we have a little bit of trouble. So she's working on getting that fixed, and in a few days, we think she's going to be up and running. She'll have the same internet I do, and then just watch out. And it's cheaper, so even better, right? I'm not just telling her business, aren't I? Oh well. I don't think that's anything too private. We like bargains, right? We like being able to find better deals for less money. So Joel McCoy, so good to see you. I've missed you the last few days. I noticed that you weren't here, and I really was starting to get worried. I was like, I'm gonna have to check in on him. I do really want to talk to you about maybe doing some kind of a show about guitars. I've got so many people lately that are so into music and guitars specifically, and I just think that could be a nice, fun chat. If you're interested, let me know. Um, I'd love to talk to you. My email address does scroll across the bottom of the screen, and let me know. If not, no problem. But I really enjoyed whenever you were on Maryland's, and you're a very good speaker, and you talked on there about the animal clinic, the pay as you can or pay what you can. I can't remember what it's called. Gosh, but anyway, pay what you can. It was such an interesting topic, and I just always think that you're an amazing person. So I don't want to step on her toes with doing that same subject, but although we may talk about it some too. But yeah, I would love to talk to you about guitars and music and just all that kind of thing. I think it'd be fun. Marilee, hi all. Thank you so much for being here. Marilee is an amazing, amazing woman. Love her to death. Nova, I love you to death, girl. I'm so blessed that you were watching the shows and connected on the fact that Dave Litton was the guy that had actually at least attempted to victimize you and did in fact victimize you. And that brought you to us and brought you to my mod family, right? So I'm thankful to that asshole on some sort of level because he brought you to us. Gosh, my nose, guys. And so anyway, Nikki Hatfield, very good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so, so much. Yeah, Dee Dee, good to see you too. Odie's Beaches, aloha. Aloha to you. Hey, John. Have you seen how many views that live with John got? Oh my goodness, that is amazing. He was a fun, fun guest. I'm glad I did it in the evening where I felt very relaxed and, just kind of calm and just got to enjoy it. And he's quite the showman. And so if you've not yet seen that live, go watch it. It is funny. And a lot of people were very surprised by his accent. And he introduces us to his beautiful wife and their amazing, awesome children, one of which was sleeping. So we didn't actually get to meet her, but she sent me the sweetest email the next day. It was just so sweet. So, we'll have to have him on another time down the road a little bit. And maybe they can do like a family chat. Like we'll just bump them all on there, one right after the other. So we'll have to see. It was a very nice live. So if you haven't watched that one, go watch it. It was just a few nights ago, and it has his picture on it and his name. You'll see. So anyway, scrolling on down here, yeah, Mischief is faking. Yeah, like the kid who says they have a stomach ache. Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm wondering about that. Maybe her internet isn't messing up at all. She just don't want to be here. I doubt that, but it sounds like a fun story. We can kind of go with it. Is it Lissa or Lisa or I don't know how you pronounce your name. I'm gonna say Lissa. Pete, it's good to see you. I always thrilled to have people here. I kind of remember your name, but I'm not connecting it for some reason. But it looks very familiar. So anyway, Angie says I lost my internet for a week and felt like I lost my friends and family, but I'm so happy to be back. Well, Angie, we are thrilled to have you back. I noticed that you were gone and then you like messaged me and said that you had lost your internet or something. And I was like, oh my God, I would go completely nuts. I have to have my internet. I mean, yeah, I have to. I wanted to say like unless I'm on vacation or something, but even that, in the evenings when you're just relaxing and stuff, I like to catch up with what my friends have been doing. Yeah. Nova says, yep, I have everything possible set up to mine, even a little extra thing to give it a boost and it still runs slow at times. We don't have that problem. We're on Starlink now, which, without getting political, I don't like the owner, but I love the internet. And so until there's a better option, I'm just gonna have to stay where I'm at. And we can get, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, there's another one that we can get now, that fiber optic one, and they swear it's really good, but I just don't think it's as good as mine. And so considering that I do at least one show a day, wanting to boost that up to 2 shows a day, and plus other things that I have to do. I'm just scared to trade to something else, so they're gonna have to really prove to me that they're good. So, it's rainy here in Colorado, Lisa says, or Lissa? I don't like to get people's names wrong. So, yeah, it's a good thing. It is here too. We've had so much rain lately, but we're still in a drought, so, and we've got the hot months coming up really soon, so I'm not gonna gripe too much, but I just don't like the storms. It could rain every day probably, and I would eventually get tired of it, but I wouldn't complain really too much, but the storms. John says, "My stupid earbud batteries are done. Fudge." Yeah. Angie says, "John, I watched your interview on replay, and you look great in lipstick and wigs." Oh, spoiler! Spoiler alert. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you're back, Angie. I really am. Yeah, Nikki says that she knows the feeling of moving and not having internet or Wi-Fi for more than a week. I felt so out of the loop. Yeah. Jill says, "I've been fine. I have been getting over anger. So when the person that angered me is in chat, I drop out." Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't know who that is, but I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I hate to hear that. But I know the feeling. I really do. Yeah, Marilee says everyone has needed to watch it more than once. Yeah. Yeah. I know. John is he's very talented, and I wish that his sound had been better. We had a game, I'll just say that, and he was playing one of his well, he played 2 of his guitars, but, the sound wasn't doing great, and so we were having a little bit of issues there, but it was just yeah, "Shh, don't talk loud." We had to whisper because he went in and showed us his daughter that was sleeping. Yeah, Angie, absolutely. His sobriety story did relate to several people. I've gotten some um, very good compliments on him for telling his story, and I think that that is just amazing. And Angie says, "I have a high-functioning autistic son, so the ways we relate are crazy." Isn't that something? How we can be here in this chat, we don't know each other, we come for different reasons and everything, right? And then all of a sudden, we relate on so many levels. I mean, I don't know, it was awesome watching not only him I do this with all of our guests that we have on, watching them interact with the, chat and everything and seeing the different levels that they relate to people, and it's just amazing. But John, he's starting to be more known in the community. He's getting around, y'all. But he's kind of a little bit of an anomaly. We don't really know all that much about him so far, but we learned a lot the other night, and I expect that he's going to be around a long time, and I'm glad to call him my friend. I truly am. Yeah, we are glad you're with us, Joel. Absolutely, Angie, you are right. And Joel, if there's something that I can do to help that situation, email me, please, because if there's anything I can do to help that situation, I will. I'm not sure, who or what or if I can help, and but I want you here. I truly want you here. So, and it would be private. I would not disclose anything you said, of course. Yeah, absolutely, Marilyn. I agree here too, Angie. There are so many connections between autism and addiction. I often wonder if it's a lack of acceptance. I don't know, but I agree on the connections. How many connections there are between different things, and especially in this group, I even got a safe place uh, light up sign. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around and figure out how to do this, but sorry guys, I'm trying really hard to be a safe place. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna lose my edge. I still have some stuff that I'm You need to find that color of lipstick for you. Oh yeah, John. Yeah. Well, if I had your email or if I had your mailing address, I would send you some. So email me your mailing address, and I will send you a little care package of stuff that you might need in the future. Yeah. Cats Hate Cults. I love that name, and thank you for being a member. Greetings from rainy New Jersey. Susie, chat, and mods. Yeah. Here we go. We have Angie says, "I'm pretty sure I myself have undiagnosed autism, but back in the 80s and 90s, nine days, that's a word, huh? 80s and 90s, they just labeled everything ADHD and ADD, and I just got ADHD and Ritalin, and that was it." Yeah, I am undiagnosed, but I absolutely fully believe that I have ADHD. I don't know. There's just a lot of reasons. And what's funny is that whenever I was going to beauty college back in the day, I my one of my instructors there was somebody that worked with people with adults that have ADHD, and she was like, "Oh yeah, 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 definitely." She says, "I can't diagnose you, but hmm yeah." Angie, yeah, I also saw John light fire to a sausage, and that was hilarious. Uh, yep. No, he wasn't Captain Davy. He was Goot Juice. Goot Juice hot sauce. He does an imitation of uh, Brett Miller as Captain Tommy Scoville or Captain Brett Miller, whatever. But anyway, it is dead on. If you know, you'll know because the voice is. I mean, I thought, what did he do a recording? I kept like, I wanted to back it up. So after it was over, I did. I went back and listened to that part a couple of times. No, it was him. Susie, it's not you, just a small thing that has happened before. And when I get angry, I just leave. So it's not to say what I feel. That's to not interrupt the chat. Well, what I was saying still stands. I, I would, yeah, no, but I was like shocked when he took that face cloth and washed his face off. But then he said his face was still stinging. So we are just giving it all away today. Yeah. Oh yeah, Autism Rudy. Hi. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started, guys. I have a little bit of today. We're talking about Scientology, and I don't know if it's because I've given myself permission to talk about other subjects too, or exactly what. But I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so I'm really, really thinking a lot about mental illness, mental health care, the lack of it in Scientology, and how they are absolutely pretty much just forbidden. They're so indoctrinated against it that they're just pretty much forbidden to get any kind of mental health care at all. And so I actually even looked it up, and I mean, I have searched and searched and searched and searched, and I even did what is it, Chat GPT or something like that, search on it, and asked, like, why is mental health so prevalent in Scientology? And, what are the statistics on it and everything, because I was just like, "My gosh, we hear about this all the time." And everything that I found, whether it be on, an AI type thing or just exhaustive searches on everything I could think of online, it doesn't seem like that they really have a higher rate of mental illness. It's just that they have such a high rate of it being 100% untreated. And so what happens a lot of times with untreated mental illnesses, things go horribly, horribly wrong. And so, that's why it seems so high, because I was just like, what is going on that they've got such a high rate of that? There's gotta be something, right? But it wasn't. It's just that they don't treat it. Or at least that's what everybody seems to think. So, um, we have welcomed so many new friends to our channel and to our chat. And so I thought that this might be a really good time to kind of back up. And I'm not going to tell the whole stories of some of these stories that we're going to discuss today, because I've already done, uh, complete videos on these subjects, except for I think one. And anyway, and there are so many more, and we've done other videos on other stories too. But today I just kind of want to give you like a kind of in a nutshell what happened. And you can go back and watch those other videos, or you know look it up online and find it. But of course, I want you to go watch my videos, of course. But whatever is best for you. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly go over a few of the tragic stories that Scientology doesn't want you to know. They don't want to remember them. They don't want to remember them. They brush them under the rug like it didn't happen. But I don't want you to forget them. I'll never forget them. And there's others. And I kind of had to just pick and choose which ones to kind of talk about today and how much to talk about it. So I hope that once you hear these stories, that you will go back and look into the videos that I've done in the past, and that other creators have done wonderful videos too, and really just understand how dangerous Scientology truly is. It's not just annoying. It's not just about money. All that's important. The money and the disconnection and all that is important. But we're talking about a quote unquote church that their belief systems, which were just created by a man who wrote science fiction, right? He kind of joined a bunch of his books together and made a religion out of it. And because he even said the way to make money is to start a religion. And so, but I think that they're responsible for a lot of these deaths and a lot of other deaths, whether it be from self-unaliving or unaliving others. There's just so many horrific stories, and I want y'all to understand that this is not just about money. It's not just about tax-free statuses. It's not about whether they buy a street and make a park, which they won't. But it's about all of that. But it's also about so much more. And I really am trying to focus on the mental health aspect of Scientology, especially this month. But we're going to start having, I won't say it'll be every Monday, but that is my goal. We're going to start having Mental Health Mondays. And I have one for this coming Monday. And Keela McDonald from Mental Health Matters is going to be on with me. And we are going to talk about surviving the aftermath, which is the aftermath of when a loved one has unalived themselves. Or even if you yourself have attempted it and failed, thank God. But just the aftermath of it. What happens after? How do you heal from that? How do you move on? So anyway, I really want to talk about that stuff. So we're gonna start doing that on Mondays at least. Now this month we're gonna talk about a lot of mental health stuff all the time. Not every day, but a lot, just because of the month that it is. So anyway, but yeah, please join us Monday. It'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. That's an oddball time, but I'm trying to leave time that because it is Mental Health Awareness Month and Keela's channel is Mental Health Matters. I wanted her to have time to rest and then to do her show that evening if she needs to. And she's trying to do one every night, and she's like missing tonight because of the tornado warnings and stuff. So unless that clears up awfully fast, she'll be missing tonight. So anyway, so I'm going to start at the beginning, or at the top, basically, not the beginning, but at the top. And so starting with the top would be Quentin Hubbard. Quentin Hubbard is the son of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. Quentin was supposed to actually be the one that took over the Church of Scientology when his father would eventually drop his body. In Scientology talk, that just means die. They believe you drop the body and just pick up another one and go on living another life. So anyway, yeah. But Quentin was not keen on it. He did not at all actually want to lead the church, really even have that much to do with it, if anything. I mean, he was raised in it and everything, so I'm sure that his belief systems to at least some point were intertwined with it, but he didn't want it. He didn't want any part of it. In fact, he wanted to be a pilot. And of course, that did not sit well with his dad. Not the fact that he wanted to be a pilot, just the fact that he didn't want to be the Grand Poobah of Church of Scientology. So, and then on top of all of that, he was rumored to be gay. Now, I don't know if he was or not. Some rumors say yes. Some friends say no. That he just, I don't know. Some people say he did it just, he acted that way just to irritate his dad. So, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't around. So anyway, but dear old dad, he had an opinion on everything, and his opinion on homosexuality was that it was a sexual perversion and that it was a illness. And I mean, like pretty much like bottom of the barrel illness. Like it is about as bad as it gets. Like, he was very vocal about how much he was against homosexuality. Yeah, pretty much the worst thing you could be. I think it was even worse than dead, which is crazy. But I'm serious. I'm not even being funny. There's like a tone scale, and I'm pretty sure that homosexuality falls below dead on the tone scale. So anyway, in 1976, Quentin was found unconscious in his car near the Las Vegas airport. Now, he had a hose that was ran from his tailpipe into the window of his car, and he was unconscious. And he died 2 weeks later, alone, never having regained consciousness. Or, anyway. The weird thing was that he didn't have any trace of carbon dioxide in his blood or anything. They couldn't find any trace of it. And, nothing in his lungs, nowhere. They never found any trace of it. So it's just, I don't know. It's one of those, what happened? What really happened? So there are also rumors that his passing was that he was unalived. There was no weapon or anything in the vehicle that he would have been able to have, done that. But yeah, there was some weird stuff. Like his license plate was a little bit down the road. There's a big story to it, and I won't go into it because it is like it's worthy of its own video, truly. But Anyway, so in typical Church of Scientology fashion, they lied. Okay, they told all the members that he died of encephalitis, which is a virus in the brain. Okay, he did not have that either. So just another lie. You'd be surprised at how many people die from the damnedest things in Scientology, according to them. So the worst part of the story, other than the fact that Quentin, who had a full life ahead of him to live, however he saw fit to live that life, other than the fact that he's gone, and obviously something was terribly wrong, whether he did, put that hose in there or not, it's sad. But the only thing worse to me was dear old dad's reaction to it. And so when they told LRH, he says, that stupid fucking kid, look what he's done to me. Can you even imagine? You've just lost a child. I mean, yeah, an adult child, but I don't care. They're your baby forever. My daughters are in their 30s. They're still my babies. You'd have to bury me next to them. You absolutely would. So, but can you? Yeah, it just makes me sick. Yes. No, this is G's. No, yeah, I know, right? It is absolutely terrible. So anyway, story number 2, Lisa Marie Presley. Now, Lisa Marie Presley did not pass at the hands of Scientology, but I do believe that it in some ways led to her passing in a roundabout way. So the daughter of Elvis, who said Scientology was crazy, Elvis said Scientology was crazy and they just wanted his money. So Lisa Marie is his daughter, as we know. But her mom, Priscilla, raised her in the cult of Scientology. So, but Lisa left the church in 2013 and she was struggling with addiction, among other things. And that all came about after her son, Benjamin Keogh's suicide. Oops, I said the word. Oh well. They just might demonetize me, but I don't care. I think that we ought to be able to say these words. I really do. I think that changing them, I think it lowers the impact. I think it's ridiculous that somebody can say the C word or anything they want and it'll actually go by, but that one suicide word. But anyway, so she raised her son and his sister Riley, who is an actress, in the church, and he unalived himself. And that led to her addiction, and which she ended up leaving the church. But anyway, so Riley revealed after Lisa Marie's death in 2023 from complications of weight loss surgery that her mom had felt isolated after leaving the Church of Scientology and retreated to England and battled an opioid addiction that escalated to 80 pills a day. I can't imagine. I know there's people that take more than that, and it's just awful. But I still have to wonder if, having been raised in the church, if her aversion, I know she had weight loss surgery, but I wonder if her aversions to other medicines and doctors in general, if it led to her not taking her complications as seriously. And either way, she was way too young. She had way too much promise, and she could have really had a wonderful life going forward. And she could have really, really been a thorn, a big thorn in Scientology's eye. And I hate that. I hate that she's gone. Apparently her mother also has left the church, but is just being very quiet about it. And again, that's a big story. That's a big story in itself. It's multi-generational. I struggle with trying not to be angry at Priscilla for having raised the children in the cult. And I mean, let's face it, the money that she gave the cult was Elvis's money, and he was against them. And I don't know. I mean, okay, right or wrong, I just think it's shitty that she spent his money on a cult and raised his daughter there. And then she raised the grandkids there. And then who knows what's going to happen, you know? So I have a little anger with Priscilla. I don't want to, but I do. So anyway, the next story is about what they call the golden suicides. And we covered this extensively too. Jeremy Blake and Teresa Duncan. In 2007, artist Jeremy Blake and filmmaker Teresa Duncan died by unaliving themselves, her first and then him, within days of each other. The golden couple told friends that they were being harassed by crazy Scientologists and after attempting to leave the cult. So they were trying to get out, and Scientology was having none of it. So they were threatening them, defaming their stories, their everything about them. Their think of the name or word I'm looking for, but just what people thought of them. They were just being attacked from all directions. They were being followed. They were just being harassed. And of course, the church denies any of that. But they can deny it all they want. They did. They unalived themselves within days of each other. They were a wonderful, loving, affluent couple that had all the promise in the world. And I blame Scientology. Now, did they have some mental illnesses in there? Probably. But honestly, I don't know how you would be involved in Scientology and not have some sort of mental illness. And that is not, I'm not taking that, with any kind of making it smaller than it is. I think it's huge. I think that Scientology creates it. I think that it just, I don't know. I just think that they're awful and that their practices and their teachings and everything, I think that it leads to mental illness. And I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But it just seems, yeah. The most famous Scientology death is Lisa McPherson. You've probably heard of her, even if you have only just started being in the anti-Scientology community. Lisa McPherson was a dedicated Scientologist. She was from Texas. Her family was not in the cult. It was just her. She had moved. She had a good job, everything, and she moved to Clearwater, Florida, to do more studies. And she was starting to show signs of some mental health issues. So apparently, she seemed fine until she got into Scientology. So, chicken or the egg kind of thing. This story absolutely haunts me, and I'm not going to go into detail just because I can't. I did do a very extensive live on it a while back. I hope you'll go watch that if you haven't already or rewatch it. The 30th anniversary of her death is December 5th of this year, and I am doing everything I can to try to be in Clearwater, Florida for that anniversary. I just want to be there. I feel very moved by her story, and the parts that I'm gonna tell today won't do it. It's sad, but I want you to see it in chronological order where it makes more sense and I'm not taking shortcuts. So, yeah, she was showing some signs of mental health crisis in 1995. She had a car accident, and she actually stripped all of her clothes off and was, like, saying that she needed help and all this stuff. Well, supposedly, she did that so that she would be taken to the hospital and, get treatment for her mental illness. And so she knew that that was a definite way to do it, and where she kind of I don't know, I think she was, like, kinda trying to side door it, like, she was like, "I'm gonna go do this, but if they take me in, then it's not that I have, listened to it and or that listened to it, I was reading something that I have, like, seeked it out kind of deal." But anyway, so what did Scientology do? They sent church officials down to her and checked her out of the hospital, because whenever you get into Scientology, you basically sign away your rights, and you sign things that allows them to check you out of hospitals, and whatever they have to do to keep you from getting mental health treatment. Now, why? Isn't that crazy? So anyway, they checked her out before she could be treated, and she was taken to the Fort Harrison Hotel there in Clearwater, which the church owns. They put her there for what they called rest and isolation. 17 days later, this vibrant, healthy woman who was showing a little bit of signs of mental health issues was dead. Now, the cause, pulmonary embolism caused by severe dehydration. She had been locked in a room under 24-hour guard with a nurse who was just a Sea Org member. There was, there's more than one of them because it was 24 hours a day. So they came in shifts, at least a couple of shifts, and kept track of her and actually wrote, which I cover in my live that I'm talking about, in a diary of sorts, a log, how she was each of those days, and they could clearly see the decline mentally and physically in this woman. But anyway, they kept her there. She began hallucinating. By the time she died, her body was severely bruised. She was starved. She had always been a thin lady, so it didn't take a lot to go from thin to emaciated. She looked skeletal. Okay, there are pictures that you can look at. Um, they're online and they are disturbing. But if you're interested in it, if you can handle it, I recommend you watch it or look at them. She had roach bites all over her body. The photos are horrifying. Absolutely. Her family sued and settled for an undisclosed amount after the charges against the cult for practicing medicine without a license were dropped. So we know how that works. Scientology seems to have their hand in the pockets of law enforcement and the judicial system pretty much everywhere, but they're big, and it makes me sick. But that is one story that you will not want to miss, even if you don't go look at the pictures. It's bad enough. Lisa McPherson. Okay, Kyle Brennan, a 20-year-old college student, was found unalived in his father's Clearwater, Florida apartment from a pew-pew shot, wound to the head. His death was ruled a self-unaliving. Here's the twist, okay? He was actually taking Lexapro, which is an antidepressant. His mother had gotten away from the church and had him away from it too. They were neither one practicing Scientology, but the father was still into it. The son went to visit the dad, and the mom had a long discussion with the dad about do not be getting on his ass about the fact that he's taking this, Lexapro. Don't, he needs it. Leave him alone. Don't try to get him to not take it. Blah blah blah. Okay. The dad agreed. I know he's 20, but anyway. So what did the dad do? As soon as he got there with it, he took the medicine and he hid it in the trunk of his car, locked it in the trunk of his car. And that was with the encouragement from the church officials. Okay. Twist number two: the dad comes in and finds, that's the story. I don't know. There's some questions about it, which I also covered. Um, the dad comes in, finds the son alive, but he was in a laundry basket of all things and dying, but alive. So he immediately calls 911, right? No, he didn't. He called David Miscavige's sister and her husband, and they were actually there by the time that 911 was called and arrived. So, yeah, he died soon after 911 arrived. The ambulance and whatever got there, and yeah, so his mom did file a wrongful death suit against the church and the dad, and it was dismissed on jurisdictional grounds, not because that the charges were disproven, because there was an issue with the jurisdiction. So once again, Scientology. Now, this is one I've never covered. I know about it. I know more than I'm saying, not a lot, but I have just never covered it out of respect for my friend, um, Liz Gale, who is a third generation ex Scientologist. We're going to talk about her brother, Philip Gale, but I'm only going to talk about him briefly because I don't know. It's important that you know it, but it's not something that I'm personally comfortable going into a lot of detail about. And she's not told me anything, that she hasn't told other people. I'm not trying to pretend like, oh, I've got the deets. No, it's not that. I just I don't want to get any of it wrong, ever, with any story, but especially whenever it's a friend. I don't know. So Philip Gale was a prodigy, a genius. By the age of 14, he was literally, y'all, a software developer for Earthlink, which is it's a internet. I used to have Earthlink, actually. Didn't know that it was a company that was founded by fellow Scientologists. By 15, he had skipped grades and entered MIT. He was brilliant and deeply introspective. But he was also, according to some friends, deeply troubled. And Philip and his little sister, Elizabeth, grew up in a very privileged, very strict Scientology family. They were third generation members. They had she lived a completely different life than a lot of the former Scientologists did, and she understands that. They were very privileged. Their family, was pretty wealthy, and they went to the best Scientology schools, and clearly they're both I mean, I think Liz, I don't know if she's ever been tested, but if she's not genius level, she can't be far off. She's incredibly intelligent, and so I can only imagine, her brother. And Joel, you're right, with high IQ comes high problems. Absolutely does. I've got a nephew that's genius. He's an absolute genius. And he's had a lot of problems. He's really, seems to be doing great now, but, it took him a while to kind of, learn to be comfortable in his own skin and learn how to deal with it. And he's in his 30s now. Philip didn't get that chance. So, Philip left the Church of Scientology in his teens, and he struggled with existential despair and growing depression. Sorry. At just 19 years old, he walked into an MIT high-rise building, wrote a kind of disturbing but eloquent, note, and he jumped to his death out the window of his college. The twist, because there's just almost always a twist where Scientology is concerned, that all of this happened on the Cult of Scientology's founder, L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. Coincidence? I don't think so. For one thing, I think that he was just so intelligent that wouldn't have skipped his notice. He would have known. When you're raised in Scientology, you are raised to idolize LRH. You are raised to celebrate his birthday as if it was Jesus. I mean, it's a bigger holiday than Christmas because they don't really believe in Christ, or at least that he's, Christ. He might have lived, but they don't think that he was like who believers believe he is. So anyway, I don't believe it was a coincidence at all, and it just makes me that much more angry because I think about this Philip, and it reminds me of my nephew, and I thought my nephew has only in the last, I would say, 10 years really even begun to be comfortable in his own skin, and without Scientology, I think that Philip would have went on and would have gotten help and think of the life he could have led. He and Liz together, right? So, Liz, she's left with a lot of questions. Um, she said that if he hadn't had the fear and the distrust of mental health treatment, or medicines, or whatever instilled so deeply into him, maybe he could have been saved. And she too did leave Scientology. She has a YouTube channel. If any of you are not subscribed to her, please go look her up. It's Liz Gale Gale, and she's amazing. I can't speak highly enough of her. And anyway, so what ties these stories together? Scientology and their insistence that mental health care of any kind is dangerous, that mental health providers are out to brainwash you and molest you and do all these horrible things that happens in Scientology. It's like deflection. Anyway, these people and many, many more than what we're talking about today live with the pressure and the pain and the fear and actuality of disconnection. They either were disconnected from families or they were afraid of it happening, all because of this quote unquote church's false teachings. I hate calling it a church. I don't like to call it a religion. I don't like to call it anything other than a cult because that's what it is. If you look up the definition of it, that is what it is. So I'm not sharing these stories to sensationalize them. There are honestly so many more, like horrible stories. Some I've covered and some I haven't yet. I will be covering more and more and more. And Scientology's still going. So there's going to be a never-ending supply of these horrible stories. Some of them are extremely dramatic, horrific stories. And they deserved better. These people, the ones I talked about and the ones that I'm not talking about yet, or that maybe I did talk about, I'm not talking about today, they deserved better from what they thought was their church. They deserved better than that. So, yeah, it's just hard. I hope that as you learn about the people that have been hurt and have died because of Scientology, that you'll see that these people are just, they're normal people. They're just like us, and that Scientology is dangerous. It's not, the members are not just people that are kind of out there or easily fooled or, even like, you know, challenged in some way. They're not. In fact, they want the best of the best. And what is it they say they make the fit more fit, or the able? No, it's able. They make the able more able. So they're not looking for the ones that they think are mentally or whatever slow or unstable or anything. They want the very best of the best. Like Philip, he was incredibly intelligent. Like let's look here. Kyle, he was in college. He was smart. The Golden Couple, they were like in the entertainment industry. They were intelligent, artistic, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Lisa McPherson was very intelligent, very well liked, very good at her job. I mean, it was just everything. The Presleys, there's nothing wrong with them. They're very affluent, very well educated. It's not just like, they don't go looking for like quote unquote losers or whatever. But even if they did, they deserve better too. It just, I don't know. It just makes me scared because people think it could never be me. This would never happen to me. It could. None of those families thought that the stuff that happened to them would ever happen to them, and it did. And so we have to stop Scientology. We have to. I know I harp on the whole deal about their tax exempt status, but I harp on it because I think that is a way to shut them down. If there was a different way, I would be harping on the different way. Do I think they should get tax free status? No, of course not. They're a cult. I'm not even sure if I think churches should get it, to be perfectly honest. I think it should be very hard to get, not just because you're a church. I think it should be for specific things, whatever. But they don't deserve it. But that's not my biggest worry. My biggest worry is that if that is what I have to use to shut them down, I will. If that will get the attention of politicians and people, just people in life. Because honestly, when you talk about cult members and stuff, a lot of people just kind of think, you know, those people. But it's not those people. It's us. It's my friend's brother. I mean, their grandmother got them into it. So their grandmother got them into it, got the family into it. So she raised her children in it, which then raised her children in it. And if Liz and Philip had not gotten out, they would have raised their children in it, their prospective, children. But Liz got out. She's married. She has children that will never, ever be exposed to Scientology. It ends with her. Sadly, she doesn't have her brother, and that's just devastating. Oh, hello. I see you here now. Oh, goodness. She's filthy and wet. It's Mags. I would pick her up and show you how big she is. She's about 25 pounds now. But anyway, she's wet, so I'm not picking her up because I don't want to smell like a wet dog. She must have got away from Veta, who was having her at doggy daycare. So I thank you all for being here with me today. I'm going to check back up through the chat real quick before we end and just see if there's anything that I missed. I'm sure there is. I'm going to, yeah, it's past there. Yeah, people talking about John. That was crazy. Okay, down a little bit further. Yeah, there's stuff I've already seen. But y'all, seriously, if you would go back and watch some of those other stories, watch them in detail, because today I was just trying to do a little quick thing, but it is very, 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 very serious, and we've got to figure out a way to shut them down. Here we go. Healing Through Song with John. Hey, John, good to see you. He says, hello, dear friends. Always good to see John here. Yeah, Angie, I agree. If Joel knows his limits, then he has to take care of his emotions. Absolutely. Absolutely. But if I can help at all, I will definitely help out any way I can. So John Lauzon, I can never say his name right, Lauzon, stepped out for a cigar. Yeah, don't burn yourself. Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing you all talk to each other. Marilee, you are right. LRH was batshit crazy. Yeah, you're right, Angie. She's on it with the emojis. You got to see her in our mod chat. She's on it. Mm. Yeah, Angie, I think so too. Monday sounds like a super important subject matter to watch. I do too. There will be a trigger warning, which I actually should have put on today, but I'm thinking that probably the title alone would have been enough to scare people off. Yes, Lisa Marie, way too young. Yeah, Nova, she says, I agree. We fought to be open about topics like suicide, and now we're going backwards. I think it's ridiculous. I really do. And do you know how immature it feels? I'm 58 years old, and for me to say things like pew pew, crazy. Yeah. Yeah, Marilee's right. The list of names is extensive. It is frightening. It is frightening. And it is so sad. Yeah, I can't imagine not being able to escape them. Even when you leave and then they just, you won't go lay down. Puppy, honey, there is not enough room. No, baby. Yeah, thank you. She's like so wide. Bless her heart. Yes, Marilee, absolutely. I love this. Liz Gale started a list of names of people who've escaped and included the names of those who passed before their time, usually self-inflicted. There was over 100 names, close to 200 names, I think. And it's on a scroll. And whenever I had Liz on the show recently, I said stuff to her about that. And I said that, I still can't watch it without crying. I can see it in my head. And I literally start to cry every time I think about it. Seeing all the names, and oh gosh, guys, seriously, seeing all the names of the people that escaped, but also the names of the ones that didn't, in time. And, SPTV has went through a lot of drama and changes and everything in the last year and a half or so. But she included names of people that don't get along with a lot of the people in this community, like, rest in peace, Mike Rinder and the Headleys and all of them, because they too are victims of Scientology. I might not have liked some of the things that he did, and as much as what I now call Ribbit likes to bite my head off if I dare mention the name Mike Rinder, he did do things that were not good after Scientology. Yes, he also did wonderful things, and I absolutely applaud him on the things that he did that were wonderful. But it doesn't erase the things that he did that were not wonderful. And so Ribbit calling people that ultimately were victims of Mike Rinder because of his actions after he left Scientology, calling them, mentally ill and worse is very Scientology-like. And so, yeah, that Jamie bitch that runs the subreddits about it can kiss my ass. And I don't care. I do respect the good that he did. I do respect the good that the Headleys did. I respect the good that anybody that has fought Scientology has done. But it doesn't give them a free pass to have also done bad things. So, and I've done videos on that too, if you're new. Yes, yeah, they did. With Lisa McPherson, they virtually starved her to death. And no, nothing to drink either, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. Nova, you're right. Lisa McPherson had something that was very treatable had she been taken to a hospital. Yeah. Yeah, and that damn doctor's still practicing. Yeah. Hear my dog. I never know what y'all can hear and what you can't. If you heard a bark, that was Mags. Yes, Nana of 2. I pray Scientology is taken down soon. Save the children. Save the elderly. Another thing, y'all, if you have not yet watched it, Serge Delmar did an amazing video just a couple of days ago. If you want to go watch that, that's another good one. He is a huge voice in the anti-Scientology community, and he has been standing up and trying to get people to pay attention to his story and others for years, and he's finally getting some attention, more attention than ever, let's put it that way. Not enough, but more than ever. So, yeah. Yeah, they need to get the pantsuit off of them for practicing medicine without a license. They just seem to skirt by somehow. And the thing is because they have, like, doctors that sign off on stuff, and so, yeah. But then the doctor's still in business too. Yeah, Nana too. I feel so bad for Liz and all the victims. I do too. I truly do. Well, guys, I think that's gonna be it for today. Hey, Goot, I see he's going to have dinner time. He's got dinner coming up, so he could catch us another day. So, Scott Collins. Yeah. What is this? Scott Collins says just because Blue Ridge is a Reese enemy doesn't change that they are both the same animal from the same forest, using the same tactics and bullying anyone who questions or presents a different viewpoint. Babe, that was perfect. I don't know you, but that was perfect. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that scroll is incredible. Yeah, that was terrible too, Nova, when Laura saw her dad and was calling out to him crying and he ignored her. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine my dad ever ignoring me. And even if he was mad at me, like, even if he was mad at me and we were like, if he had, this is not something that would happen. Okay, but for a second, I'm going to pretend like my dad disowned me, okay? If I saw him and cried out to him, he would never ignore me. So, yeah. Yes, Marilee, thanks everyone for spending time with us and supporting Susie and this community. I have the absolute best channel, not my part, your part. I, I'm overwhelmed by the people that choose to spend time here and listen to me ramble on. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go play with my puppy and get a towel and try to dry her off. It's raining outside and she likes the water. Aw. Hey Liz, messy ex-Scientologist. I love you, girl. I do talk about your brother a minute, and I hope I got it right. I didn't go into great detail just because I just won't. I can't. Out of respect for Liz, I just can't. But anyway, I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Dusty Soda Dispenser, and it's gonna be more of a happy one, I think. But please, y'all go and look into some of these horror stories, and there are more. There are more, but I wanted to give the new people a little bit of a refresher. The older people that have been with us for a while, a refresher course, and the new ones kind of just a Cliff Notes kind of deal about it. So yeah. When I'm bigger, I want to be like Susie. Dawn, you are crazy. I don't think you're getting bigger, dude. I think you're full grown and just awesome, just the way you are. But I'm gonna go. I love you guys. Bye.